Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Live from the Chair with Big Money Exchange. Our co-host, Big Money Dodge, is out doing big money things and will not join us tonight. I'm actually stepping back into work here as soon as we speak, so I'm going to hand it over to our host. But first, let me introduce to you our guest, Mr. Caden Cassidy. He is going to be a kick in the pants interview. He's going to have some great stories about Pacific Northwest wrestlers. So I cannot wait to hear this interview. I wish I could ask some questions, but duty calls, work calls. So Caden, take it away.
Hey, to them, the Bad Lab Choice, the Kingpin, the Big Boss, whatever you want to give me a call. But you show me that respect. I have been doing this for over 10 years. For me, this has been a dream of mine literally since I left high school. I remember the literal last thing I said before I left out my last class was, if I'm not acting, I'm wrestling. Happy to be doing this. Yo, baby.
Very nice.
Sorry, it is
So
hot.
I get it. It's hot out here, man.
And I feel bad for you because you're like, I can't just get up and go do what I want right now.
I don't seriously. Like, I live in a nursing home and I lay by the window. Like, about 3 o'clock, I felt like I was roasted.
Oh my gosh. Like, this is one of the reasons why, like, I got a couple of family members who are quadriplegics and paraplegics. And we always talk about the stem cell research and how well it's doing. I'm not trying to change the topic so much at the beginning, but
No, you're good.
I hope that it helps for people like yourself. Like, because, gosh, when Christopher Reeve was still alive, they had actually got him to start moving his legs normally.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know.
That.
It was such a wild time. And it was in 2012. So I'm like, it's been 21 years.
And technology and science gets a lot better.
Yeah, they're actually working on it for people with like spectrum disorders and a couple other things. And I'm in fact, this one's near and dear to my heart for hair loss. They're doing stem cells.
Interesting.
I was like, really? They inject it into they create the hairline and they inject it into the scalp. And your stem cells are supposed to be able to bring back your hair. And I'm like, that is interesting.
That's very interesting.
I don't know if I want it back though. I love that it's like it is a 2-minute job. Like, if I usually play music when I do my head. And I say if I've gone past the whole song, I'm just jamming.
Yeah, it's like I've been in here too long. Like,
yeah, like it was a couple weeks ago. I had Enter the Sandman going, and then I said, F it, let it ride. And just kept doing my same stuff. And the whole damn album. And I'm sitting here like, I gotta go. I got things to go do.
So, first of all, thank you for being on tonight.
Go
it's a pleasure.
Yeah. I love these podcasts. Are my favorite way to be intimate with fans and producers alike.
You're fine. And this person would kill me if I didn't bring him up first. So T-Rex wanted me to say hello.
That's my guy. He was there when I first started. I love seeing him. I know he retired recently, and I was like, I wanted to see him for his way out, but I couldn't make it.
He's actually a supervising producer on.
Yeah, he's actually my mentor now. So
I love that guy. I have when I first started, he would always give me a hard time, but then he'd wisen me up with little things here and there, or kind of give me critiques on my matches. But then I had to. The place that we were at was not best for my training, and once I left, unfortunately I kind of put myself into a black void. I have to focus on this dream. Even now I still kind of do that. Hey, I'm gonna go watch my Samoa Joes, I'm gonna go watch my Masawas, my bad news Browns, or bad news Allen, depending on who you ask. And I'm kind of in that zone, this is where I want to be. And certain training grounds just aren't giving the knowledge that I'm looking for. I'm 37. I'm still a sponge. I still want to know as much as possible so I can entertain my fans. And through the injuries and recently concussions, I just want to give the best, all that I can.
Right, and that's something you and I have in common, because I said I live in a nursing home, and people ask me what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I study wrestling every day. Like,
Oh, it's incredible. I was just watching Dynamite a second ago, and now I'm watching, or I was watching Cobra, because I was like, all right, wrestling break. I want to become overstimulated. I haven't seen this movie since I was like 10. You know,
yeah.
it's on HBO right now, and I'm like, all right, I probably should pause it, which I probably will.
Or at least you can rewind it later and be like, do I remember where I left off? Because that's
do you remember, like, I don't know how long you've been in your position. Do you remember, like, when we were kids, you'd walk into the store in the 80s and 90s, and they'd have the weird, like, displays for drinks and candies.
yes.
In the movie, they had one that I forgot about. It was the Pepsi pour, and it was just a twisty, like, brown stream into a cup.
Oh,
And I was like, I haven't seen that since I was like 8, maybe 9. And it's just a big nostalgia pop. Like, yeah, I'm gonna finish this movie tonight. This is
okay. Okay, that's weird because I had the same thing. As soon as you were describing that, my brain went, I haven't heard of that in like years.
right. Like, oh, it's anything 80s and 90s. I kind of get that. I wouldn't say weepy eyed, but it's like that. My heart just like, man, those are the
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
We always my wife and I and some of my brothers, we're silly. And I'm like, if you can go back in time, where would you go? And it's always the same answer, 85. 85 to about 98. I would just live it. I would just live it all over again. There's so much fun there. The TV shows.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, I'm like, man, I actually enjoyed before she was kind of a B word. I enjoyed Roseanne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Such a fun show. I enjoyed God, I would be able to watch like things like news radio and see Phil Hartman before he passed. Like all those things. But of course, as you know, can't change the damn thing.
No, but you can always remember them. So that's about as close as you can get. So
yeah, I would say I love this stuff. I love watching Back to the Future with my kids, and I'm like, that's a thing. That was a thing.
Great movies.
All of them. I part 3 grew on me. Like,
yeah.
A friend of mine was like, it's the best of the sequels, and I'm like, no. But apparently, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, it's the best rated out of the sequels. And I'm like,
really?
Really? I'm shocked because they thought it was they thought part 2 was too contrived. It was just too much. And I'm like, I like that part 2 is too much because it has its own story here. And then they go back in time to fix some of the stuff here. I love that. Plus,
I do too.
The hoverboard is iconic. The shoes became iconic, and they brought them to real life. The DeLorean is actually making a comeback with the EV. So, like, I feel like part 2 was the most influential to pop culture out of all of them. Part 3 is good, but in truth, it's like, here's the real story. Here's Doc Brown's, love story. Like, they overlap, and it's mostly Doc Brown stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm here for Marty. I don't want part 4, and I'm glad we never got it.
No, I am too. I think part 4 would have been too much.
I like that it ended how it did. Like, hey, we all lived happily ever after. Nobody died. Even Biff is alive.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a good thing. But anyway, you had questions, and I can do this 80s and 90s talk all day.
Also, could I? So we'd be here till like next Tuesday.
You okay? All right. Now, Furbies, what'd you think?
So, who were some of your wrestling heroes growing up?
Let's see. Everybody wanted Hogan, but I was more into Macho Man. I've always been I would say an explosive, eccentric personality. I've never not been that guy. And I used to come into the kitchen and do the impressions and do one of these and all that stuff. Like, kids at the playground would do the leg drop. I would always reference the elbow drop. When they had the little buddies, the fight buddies, they had Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. I think they had a Taker and
Ric Flair at one.
Yeah, they had Ric Flair. There's one more. I'm thinking Rick Rude. They had Rick Rude.
Yeah.
So they had all those. My dad used to buy those for me. The girls would get the Barbie dolls and the Ken dolls, and I would get the Fight Buddies.
Yep.
So Macho Man in the 80s, Macho Man and Taker. But then as I got older, it's strange because I'm obviously black. I have a little bit of native on my grandmother's side. But like when it comes to the black wrestlers, D'Lo Brown and Booker T, I've met both of them, both incredibly sweet people. Especially D'Lo. D'Lo's like one of those guys you could, like, hey man, I'm gonna give you a beer and we're gonna talk for a long time. I've always wanted to do some of D'Lo's stuff, but I'm 6'1", 318 pounds. I'm not gonna be sitting here doing frog splashes or jumping calf kicks. And then like as we went into the future, I love some Flair matches. But I love me some Vader matches. And then as of recent heroes, I watch Samoa Joe often. Love Samoa Joe. Like when I watch him, I see myself in that guy. We're about the same body build, and he has that mean streak. Like I met him in passing, and I kind of get the same vibe I get from like myself. You can be funny if you want to, but when you're on, you're on. Like, and that's the approach that I've kind of taken in my wrestling. Like, sure, the character can be funny. He can crack some good jokes, some one-liners, and go about his business. But it's almost like an 80s movie. Like, when Van Damme or like Stallone or even Arnold would like say that one-liner that was quippy and then go back to kicking someone's ass. That's how I think. Like, yeah. Someone was like, what was it? Someone said something about like, because like, what does the BLC stand for? Bacon, lettuce, cheese. And I was like, actually, it stands for big, long. And then I went right back into a punch. I just, and went right back to the match. And he was like, yeah, right. It was so funny. Like, that's great. Those are the things that I like. Because it's a memory. People are going to remember being interacted in that way. When I first started, it was half me, half my coach. We were trying to think of a personality. Like, I don't know who you are. And they knew a lot about my background. I'm like, my dad's a playboy. Big time playboy. Right. And they're like, well, isn't your character kind of like your father? I'm like, a little bit. And he's okay. I have an idea for you. So I'm getting all warmed up. I'm doing all this and getting ready for my first match, introducing. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Who at 6'2", 275 pounds. I'm sitting here like, yeah, we're ripping and roaring. Yeah, the white girl's kryptonite. Excuse me. My wife could be seen through the curtain, and she went, what?
It's like, we did not talk about this before
And so we did that for a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna be one of those disgusting, like, entitled playboys. So like we'd have a lady ref, and I'd always have a credit card in my pocket, and it's like 1, 2, and I'm like, you know what, sweet thing, do me a favor, go ahead and take this credit card and go buy whatever you want. And she like pull out her phone, and I'm sitting here doing punches and all that whatnot. Cassie, it says it's declined. Run it again. Just trying to have fun with it. Like, those moments for me were so special because like it gave the fans something to laugh about. And a lot of them still bring it up all the time. Like, so that's kind of like when I think of the wrestlers that came before me, I think of the ones now. I kind of want to be the amalgamation of, let's kind of pick a little bit here and there and just make myself, which is why I think a lot of the 80s and 90s fans kind of gravitate to who I am. But a lot of the more recent fans, when I get nasty, they kind of gravitate toward that part.
Got you. So, and I'm glad you said Samoa Joe because I've watched a lot of your matches because I used to go to like PMPW and stuff like that. And I watched like the DOA stuff, and like one of my training partners at the training school we had was Draven Vargas. So
I love Draven. Love that, man. He gave me. There's been so many times I wanted to like quit. You know, when you're just being so hard on yourself, and Draven would like always make sure it was fine. Here's the
Yep.
thing you need to work on. Okay,
Yep.
thank you. We had a one-on-one match, and when people say that it clicks, when wrestling clicks, it clicks. It's like when you like imagine the light bulb in cartoons. That's literally what it was for me. You know,
Oh yeah.
we don't do this move like that. We do it like this. Oh, oh, now I see why. Or
Yeah.
you know, when people say make it your own, I wouldn't really understand what that meant. Because like make it your own, like I would do a pie. You know, what you know, like what do you mean? And you know, Draven would like, okay, for instance, I don't do the boss man slam this way. I do it my way. And he does like an extra spin and he'll jump and bow
Yeah.
and raise his hands and all that. Oh, okay. So like for a while, I was doing this huge belly to belly where I would lift them straight up and then I would twist them and I would almost splash them as I slammed them.
Ouch.
And like it was super cool because it was only like I was the only one doing it like that for a while. And it was like that, you know, Draven was a big writer and like making sure that I understood it and trying to help me kind of push my ideas to the forefront. Like, hey, how do you want to be like, how do you want to be presented? What do you mean? Well, are you this big badass or what are you? And he would kind of break it down to how that worked. And like, I needed that. And I've always been appreciative of it. When we came back from the pandemic, I had a semi main and then I had a main. And I sat down, I was sweating, and I was sitting like, I think that was good. And then like he came up, I just felt that giant hand of his, and he's like, that was good. He said, thank you. That was main event worthy. And like that meant so much for me. Cause like big bro liked it. Oh, thank you so much.
Yep,
you know,
him and I have had that same interaction.
He's such a wonderful gentleman, and I don't think he gets enough respect. Like I get it.
No.
The guy wrestles at home and he's not one of those guys that gets to travel often, but the guy is raising a family, has a wife, kids, pretty good cushy job. It's hard to want to leave all the time.
Yep.
So like give the man respect. He can run with pretty much anybody and have a good match.
Oh yeah, I mean if he wanted to, he could be signed anywhere right now. Like
he could.
I truly believe that. Like
yeah, like never needed to be this super skinny, big buff man. He's a big man. Draven to me is, and there's no offense to him, he's the pothead at the end of the bar that if you mess with him,
he gonna hit you.
Listen, you about to get slapped. And it ain't gonna you better watch yourself.
Yep.
So yeah, big respect to Draven Vargas, one of my favorites. And he just he got his smile back recently, and like I got all teary-eyed. I know how much it meant to him. And I'm like, what do you think? He's like, I'm so happy, like just beyond ecstatic to just like be able to confidently just go, you know. And I'm just like, yeah, like it's a big deal. Like I myself have lost teeth in this business. I got kicked in the mouth on this side, and my entire face was atrophied. And then I had the tooth, the entire like root and I forget what it's called, like the little 4 prongs got cracked. So they had to rip it out and put a whole different one in there. And then this one got messed up, and then these ones got messed up. So I've had teeth work done. I get it. Like it's weird to not feel like I can smile without somebody commenting. So I'm really happy for him in his personal life as well.
So I have one quick story about Draven that where I was a little bit angry, but I understood it. So I was up at Tito's up in Hillsboro.
Yeah.
Back when they were running the shows up there.
I remember.
And Draven was tag team partners with one of my best friends. And so they were in the main event. And they wanted to hide a cookie sheet. Well, I'm in a wheelchair. So they're like, hey, come to the back. We'll hide the cookie sheet behind your back because I can't see it in the wheelchair.
Right.
But they didn't tell me they were in the main event. They did this before the show started. So I'm sitting in like like 80-degree weather with a cookie sheet in my back, watching the matches, going, "Come on, guys, anytime."
Right, like I'm kind of hurting.
Like, you guys can come out here like anytime, and like, so finally they come out. They're like, "Thanks for helping us out." I was like, "You realize you could have just told me when you were going to be in the main, you were going to be in the main event. And I could have went into a bathroom or something and like win the."
I agree with you. I agree with you. Like stuff like that would happen to me. We had Andrew Watson when I was just first kind of breaking in. He wanted to do this spot where somebody mysteriously got involved into his mask. So he had me come in a lucha mask and super loose fitting clothes, and like I'm thinking I'm super inconspicuous, and then like one of the fans like, "I know that's you, Cassidy. I know that walk anywhere." Man, get the hell out of here.
You're like, "It ain't me. I don't know what you're talking about."
Kiss Cassidy guy. I've never heard of him.
Him? Who was that?
He must be a fine gentleman. But yeah,
don't forget to buy his merch though. I'll tell you that, because that.
Man, please. Yeah, so I did the thing. I clotheslined him from the back, and did the big beat down, and then like a bunch of the wrestlers did not know about the spot, so they slid into the ring. I slid out. I'm running like I'm 230. Like, dude, I do this, so I'm gone. Now I forgot I'm not wearing a belt, so I'm doing the put your fingers through the loops and trying to run.
And just open your pants, stay up all around your.
I ran like 6 blocks down the road, found my car, and peeled out. I got a phone call. Was that you in the ring? Because somebody said it was you, and I'm sitting here. Nah, man, that wasn't me. I'm at home chilling.
I'm good.
Yeah, awful spot. Never do it again.
So you brought up before we got on the air about the Blanchards. Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with them?
Yeah. I mean, I have been under their tutelage, I'd say, but basically even more like a mentorship. Like Jeremy has been like one of those guys that you can really count on for the real, true, honest advice. And he's not afraid to really tell you how it is. So like even at like back in the day when I was working with WCWC, when I first came in as Donovan Knight, I remember Bubba was like, "I don't like this idea of you wearing a dress shirt and a tie in the ring." So he commentated, he's like, "Look at this idiot. Someone's gonna pull his tie and they're gonna throw him over the rope in a battle royal." I heard that. Like, you're not too far from me, I can't hear it. So I'm sitting here punching the guy, grab him by the tie. So he led me over, and I like basically swanton dove out over the top rope onto my back. And he's like, he's laughing about it, and he's like, "Yeah, that idea sucks." And I'm like, I'll retire this character immediately. But like, I am not innocent. I wouldn't say overly emotional, but I won't let anybody walk over me. I don't care if you're the owner of a promotion. I don't care if you're the president of the United States. If you talk down to me or talk at me, you're gonna get talked to right back. And most of it is because in the world that I deal with, in my real life as Todd, I do a lot of HR work and a lot of work where I talk to people and individuals. I'm always going to show you the proper respect you deserve. You are a person, you deserve to be talked to with some humility and respect. Yep. So the owner of the WCWC, I had just had my first kid. Even like now, I'm tired because I'm dealing with these gosh dang kids. So like I was managing a store, and he's like, "You need to be at this show at this time for call time and this time for bell time." Cool. And then I got a phone call. "Can you grab so-and-so?" "Yeah, I'll grab so-and-so from work. It's not that far down for me. We're good." He's late. So I'm late. And this dude is over here like, "Well, you didn't show up on time." Well, sir, you know that I have to run the store. But that's not the point. The point is you got to be here until I got to run the store. So I'm not about to mess up my bread for you. Now, the show ain't for another hour. We can go ahead and figure out what we got to do with this show, and we good. After that, he's like, well, you know what? You're not getting
I'll
paid
go
tonight.
this way and I'll take.
I'm like, I'm not getting paid. Okay.
Oh,
So I tried really, really hard to be cool about it. I got dressed and like, you know, when you're so mad, you feel your entire body tensing up.
yep.
That was me. So we went ahead and went to the back. I'm getting dressed. And I said, you know what? F this. I said, hey, man, can I talk to you real quick? It better not be about you getting paid today. And like, all I saw was red.
I don't blame you.
I cussed him out like my daddy would cuss somebody out. Like I went in. And I'm in my boots and everything. And he's like, whoa, 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 what's going on? What's going on? And I'm like, man, and left. And then like a year or so later, he's like, I understand why you were angry. There's better ways to handle that. And he's like, but at the same time, I agree. I'd have been pissed too. And you know, he would put me to the side and start kind of giving me the 411 on things. And this is how we hold ourselves. This is why we do this. He's like, if they're acting stupid, it's gonna get around. Don't don't knock your own character because you're getting emotional about. You can just leave. Like you don't have to knock yourself down. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I had a couple other wrestlers like Bubba who would be like, you know, keep your nose clean. You know, keep your nose to the grind, do your job, and you'll be booked everywhere. You know, even like these days, after either before or after a PAL match, because Bubba helps run the show. You know, hey man, I have this idea that I want to run by you, and you know, we'll sit down and talk about it. Or whether it's like lifting and getting bigger or getting smaller, because Bubba is strong. I don't think people really know how strong he is. I'm talking like 500-pound deadlifts. You know,
yeah, he's a strong man.
That's a strong man. The people would think he's all belly. I'm like, nah, that's a power lifter, bro. Like, if that I hug you, you gonna know that I hugged you. That man hug you, that might be the last hug you ever get. Like, like you, sir, I want to go ahead and ask for one of those wheelchairs to come to my house tonight. Nah.
Yeah. I got one better for you. He hugged me once. I thought I could walk.
My God, right?
No,
everything back in order. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like you're a miracle worker, man.
Man, yeah, it be that way. So, like, you know, it's been nice to have them there on my side. You know, if something goes wrong or I feel like I do something wrong, you know, they're going to be truthful with me. They're not going to be like, the cool thing I like about their advice is they're not going to be like, you know, nah, you effing suck, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, you can do this. I know you can do this. And I love that. It's like you're having your other father figures really like come to your aid. Like, man, I know you got this. You just need to figure out what you need to do to stay on this consistency level. And that for me has been honestly worth its weight in gold. Like, you feel good about, like, it's weird when you feel good about a mess up in a match. It's like, man, I can't do it. You know, all that. And then it's like, nah, you're fine. What? I'm okay.
And you're like, oh, good. Okay. I can breathe now.
Right, exactly. It's like, okay, cool. Thank you very much. So that's been my relationship, and watching Jay retire and then come back, because I was so sad. I didn't want to go near WCWC. I quit twice, and I quit twice the exact same way because the owner gets under my skin. I can't stand that dude. And it's mostly because he talks down to everybody. And that is a no-no in my personal life. We don't talk down to nobody. Everybody's on the same level. I don't care how much money you got in your bank account. You are still a human here. And you're going to show that person and that person the same respect. You can be the janitor, or you can be the person set up the ring. You can be the person who runs the show or a worker. We all get treated with the same respect. So when I would see him treat people weird, or they would leave the room and folks would get talked about, that would hurt me. He's like, we don't do that here. So I just kind of made the conscious decision, you know, I'm done. I can't come back. I can't come back to somebody who keeps getting under my skin like that. And he understood. He's like, I get it. It's cool. Makes total sense. So he retired a little bit after I left. And I reached out and was like, man, I'm so sorry. You know, I guess he had a concussion that was pretty bad. And then we talked about it a couple weeks ago at POW when we had the baseball show in June. And he's like, yeah, apparently like my brain is healing on its own. Everything's going great. Like I can do this stuff for a little bit longer if I want to. And it's cool. Just kind of watch him have his resurgence, like watch him have his final bow.
Yeah.
And he knows, like, if this is the 80s or the early 90s, y'all be making stupid money. Because the act ain't stale. It's still great. Unfortunately, we got, age plays a factor. It hurts to do this. So I can see him taking more of a big mentor role as things go forward.
Yeah, and I haven't even told my executive producer this, but they gave me the advice that made me continue doing wrestling stuff.
What they say?
Because I was doing the commentary over at the training school where Draven and I trained, and they came down to wrestle a match against Draven and his tag team partner, and I called their matches, and they came back to me in the locker room because I was the booker too, because we were doing, we were running it like a show.
Yep.
And they were like, okay, we have a nickname for you, and you're like, all right, well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, and they're like, no, you're the young JR.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I was like, holy crap, right? Like, and that stuck with me this whole years later.
It should. That's a big honor. People talk about the greatest backstage interviewers, best commentators, and I know JR has become a little problematic with some of the things that he does, but the guy's honestly one of the best.
Oh yeah.
My entire childhood, outside of just a couple of moments, JR was there. And it's crazy whether he was in WCW as an interviewer or in WWF on Raw as this prominent member of the entertainment crew. I'm doing commentary, I'm doing backstage interviews, I'm doing sit downs with Triple H. He got burned by Kane. The guy was great. I mean, the guy was so good that WCW started taking jabs at him. It was like, okay,
yeah,
you're making fun of the commentator with a disability. Good call.
Yeah. And you're not even doing a good job at it, right? It's like,
right. Triple H said it best. If you don't have any haters in this business, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, I love hearing that I have haters because I'll hear about it when I come to the room. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. And I'm like, yeah. Big man here knows what it is. Let someone talk bad about him. He can walk around and take those glasses off. Now I heard you was saying something stupid.
I guarantee you they'd be changing their tune.
I'm talking about the whole guitar. Let me go ahead and get this G real fast. Jesus. Unwrap this coil. Yeah, we ain't doing that today. But yeah, those are my guys. Whatever they need, I'm here for them.
Okay, so I am back, Nathan. So I wanna ask Caden a question. What are your thoughts on a new promotion getting started in Washington? What advice would you have for that promotion and the promoters or owners of that promotion?
Communicate. ASAP Wrestling is starting up soon, and we're losing 2 promotions right now, and it's find your feel. Everybody knows Defy, but when Defy first started, no one knew what the heck it was. But through the years, Defy has its own feel. It almost feels like a coliseum when you go into that place. You got the smoke, the lights, the music, the acoustics, the fans, and you look up and you have 600 people looking down at you watching your match and really being attentive. It's a good feeling. WAC had their own feel. They had the super indie feel. They had the super cool lights that they actually had to wrestle under. That was super awesome. 5cc, unfortunately they're closing. They found their own feel with the 5-sided ring, and they had the smoke machine, the lights. DOA has its own feel. That's a big thing, because when I think a promotion doesn't know who they are on that level, we see them fail.
Yep.
And it's been time and time again. You need to find a reason for the fans to want to come here. And it's not just the talent. You can get the best talent in the world. What's the feel? Like Prestige is more of a punk rock theater. DOA is very hardcore. From the fences you see when the wrestlers come out to the way the TVs were orchestrated on the walls, everything feels like a little bit like I'd say like old school WWF. That's how or ECW almost. That's how I see these companies. So we need to find, okay, what do you want to feel like when these fans walk in the ring or walk around the ring or see the wrestlers come out? What do they need? What do they need to see? Communication, like I said earlier, communicate between all your owners. Who's advertising? What kind of advertising are we putting out there? What is our revenue stream supposed to look like? When we bring in talent, who are we looking for? Why are we looking for them? It's not just because they draw. What do we need on our squad? Because it's like, I always think about when we get fly-ins, it reminds me almost like this is stupid for some, but you'll get it when I say it. Remember when the Power Rangers would always have a 6-man?
Yep.
And it can't just be any old 6-man. Who fits in with our squad?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's like, we get an Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley's cool, calm, collected, very easygoing person. Yeah. And he's a great mentor. Great. I don't see that same feeling from certain people when they come in. Some people don't even want to interact with your roster. They just, I'm going to do the match, I'm going to leave. I remember Sean Davari came in ECW when I was there, and Sean wanted nothing to do with any of us. Didn't want to talk to us. Didn't want to coach us. Didn't want anything.
Wow.
He did his match and he left.
See if she can bring it. Oh, bring it to me.
Good Lord.
And that for me gave me a big like it made me feel a certain type of way about that interaction. I remember I was like, "Hey, I'm
left his fanny."
Yeah,
I'm 27 years old at the time, because I came in late, and I'm like, "Hey man, I'm trying to figure out how to gain muscle and look a certain way." And he was like, "Work out." Like we don't need that here.
No, you want more, right? You want okay. So what do you do? What?
Right, you've done this job. You've been here. Chris Hero, great person to talk to. One of my favorites to actually like listen to. We just sat there and listened. And there's a couple of others out there that I would say, but yeah, that's kind of where my mind goes. Those two things: find your field, communicate, figure out how you want to be presented.
Okay, well, since he set me up perfectly for it, because that's what he's good at. Among other things, we're getting ready to start our own promotion in Pullman, Washington, in about a year, called Inclusion Pro Wrestling.
Okay. Let's say big thing out there these days is just like I said, find that feel and find the roster that makes sense. A lot of these promoters that I've talked to, it's no one in particular, but I'm like, are you sure we need this person? Well, they're affordable, and I'm like, that's not what I asked you. Are you sure we need this person? Right? It's like if for instance we're fighting fires, with these fans, we need to get these fans in this building. We need to make sure that we get these people to come watch these matches and talk about us and post us on their TikToks and post us on our Twitters. I don't think Wrestler B over here is going to be the guy.
Right.
For A over here, who's been doing this for a while, consistently has great matches, sells good merch, draws in people. I know he's 150, but if I can get 5 tickets off this guy, he's worth the 150.
Yep. And see, I think so far, personally, we've done it smart. We've only invited people or asked people that have been on the podcast. That way we get time to talk to them and get to know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that way we get a feel of who they are. And then we can go back and be like, okay, based on what we've heard, is that, somebody that we want in the locker room, or
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's kind of how I think. I think that's a smart way to do it. Like, write them on the list. Who would I want? And think about bringing people. When I think the Pacific Northwest, I don't just think Oregon and Washington. I definitely do think like the latter parts of Canada. Who do I want? Who can I get? Who's going to be affordable? Who can bring a car full of people, and we can have 7 matches on this card today. We can put on a consistently good show. We can get these barn burner matches. We can get these good, slow, steady matches. We can get the people here who love the 80s wrestling, who want just a decent story. We can get people here who want just good characters. And then maybe we can have a hardcore match here and there. Sure. But who do I get that's consistent, that looks the role? One of the things that I remember one of my trainers said, he said, I'm not putting you in the ring if you look like I could pull you from Walmart.
I like that thing.
Very
Don't get me wrong.
thought.
Like, hey, Big Brother and I, man, we some big boys. We still throw the F down if we had to. If we had to, hopefully we don't ever have to, right? But at the same time, I thought about that. I'm like, he's right. Like, if it looks like you were at the checkout counter over here ringing up my groceries, I don't expect you to know how to throw down, and it's kind of weird. But there are some people who can. So one of those, like, you just gotta pick, like, where do we want? Who do we want in this ring? Who looks legit? Who doesn't look legit? So like I said, when you're putting together your roster, you're gonna need a hodgepodge of people. But you got to find that perfect feel, like what feels right, who fits in, and what will they be doing? Are they coaching these kids? Are they going to be the mid card, the upper mid card, or are they going to be the top of the card? What do we see them doing in our company in a year?
Yep.
Like, hey, I brought this kid in. Like, I remember when Caden first started. People talk about Nick Wayne and how good he is. People forget how good Caden is. Caden's incredible.
Oh my God.
And
yes, he is.
I'm not right. I'm like Caden, watching him find himself in the superhero character, from going to just, Caden Morales, to the Bird at 321 Wrestling, to the Weed and Seed connection, and then the hero, like, which was on AEW, got some good clips of him with him and Hobbs. Like, the guy's incredible. The guy can do pretty much everything. Yes. And I think that is what I think about when I think about who am I bringing in and why. Watching people evolve and become the player you need is incredible. Max Burnside, another guy that I didn't know what to I like him. I've always liked him. I didn't know what to think about him. And then, like, watching him like 3 years later, this guy is great. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Caden and him are like one of the best tag teams in this area when they tag. So I think that's what I would tell you guys. Who are we bringing in? How long do you think we'll have them? What are they going to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
Great advice.
Very cool. Okay, so comment, and then I got a question. I seen that Caden Hobbs match at AEW. That was a phenomenal match.
Yeah, good really 5-minute match.
Yeah, it was a good match for 5 minutes. Okay, so the question I have is, what is your pre-match and your post-match routine?
I recently lost my grandmother. I don't know if you would call it praying, but I kind of like zen out to that. My grandmother was an entertainer when in her youth. She was like a lounge. Remember the old 1950s and 60s lounge singers? They come out with the nice music. That was what she did. She grew up in Arkansas. So, Arkansas, the South, they had the smooth soul music. She made a decision about the same time she got a contract offer. Is it worth leaving my kids and going on tour to promote this album? Or is it I should just be a mom? She chose being a mom. And I have always had a big heart for that. When she passed away, I made an internal promise to myself that, until I'm done with this, I'm going to do the best I possibly can and have some of my best matches for her. I also lost my older brother. So I pray to Michael and Martha in my head all the time. Like, I need you guys here. I need your help. I need you to center me so I can go out there and have a great match and to get this done. I'm also going to get a pump. I'm going to do some push-ups. I do about 50 to 80 push-ups to get a nice little pump. Not too much, so I'm not tired and my arms are numb. I do just enough so my arms get to their maximum potential. I'll do about 50 butt kickers, a couple jumping jacks. I'll do some squats, probably like 100 squats because 100 is really nothing. It's just a good pump. And then I listen to what I always go into character mode by seeing what would Caden listen to. When I think of because I came back as the Kingpin after the pandemic. And when I think of the Kingpin, I definitely think of Wilson Fisk from Daredevil. One of the best scenes in that show, the movie and the show, I didn't like the movie, but I love Michael Clark Duncan's Kingpin. When he is looking over the city and he's just smoking that cigar, I'm like, what a baller thing to be doing, right? Like,
exactly.
Like, brother, I get to see this whole stinking city. It's mine. And just sitting here just like laughing about it, right? So I think about that. Like, that's the character that I want to get into. I love when people call him fat, and Kingpin's like, actually, I'm 90% muscle.
Yeah,
I'm just a big man for sumo wrestling, right? I love that. And I listen to, I don't know if you guys, I love all music. I love folk music, country music, disco music, house music. I love it all. So I do. Todd Phillips likes it all. Caden Cassidy listens to classical music and metal and hip hop. Like the things that put you into that groove. When I'm walking into a corporate room and I'm going to go own this room, classical music. I want to be calm. I want you to know when I walk in that I'm a little bit above you, right? When it's, a good, like a hardcore match, I go into full metal mode. Hey, buddy, I'm on the phone. Go downstairs. Nope. Liam, don't do that. Let him downstairs. I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Mom's going to be here. Yeah, just turn it back on. Love you. And sometimes I do hip hop. I do like, I'm really from New Jersey, so I will listen to some East Coast hip hop. I'll put on some Nas, some Biggie Smalls. I'll listen to Mobb Deep. I might listen to a little Rakim, and like get in my head. Like I want to feel like I am that guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like when I chose my entrance song. Actually, Jaden asked this too. He said, "Why did you choose your entrance song?" I said, the reason why I walk out to my entrance song is, what does it say? It says, you ain't got what's running through these veins.
Yep.
Because you ain't me, and you'll never be me. You'll never be like my blood. And that brings something out of me when I hear that every time. If you watch the camera, I am always saying that behind the curtain. I love that part, but I mean that part. Like, we walk like a king. We talk like a king. So I feel that. And I pop out. Post-match, I just need to cool down. Like, give me all the water, all the Gatorade. But I'm also the guy I'm gonna go through as much as I can mentally with it. I'm gonna try to think back from the opening to the mid-match. If there were any hiccups, and how bad were the hiccups? Is it so obvious that it was a hiccup? Or is it like, no, you know it because it's you, right? Like trying to give myself a little like mental pep talk. And for me, more times than not, like recently I got a concussion. I didn't even know I had a concussion. I took a rolling powerbomb off the top and I felt weird. Like I know when I'm crystal clear and I know when something's kind of foggy. And then I had my match with Funny Bone, and Funny Bone threw the chair to the side, and I knew something was wrong. I couldn't get my hand up in time. So the chair popped me over here by the ear, and my entire equilibrium was off. So I'm watching the match back, and I'm like, God, like 2/3 of it was awesome. And it happens. Like Randy Orton talked about it. Randy Orton's like, bro, I was knocked out in a match and literally was trying to float through everything. Angle did the same thing recently. I think it happened to a couple of folks in the PNW. So like that's just kind of me. I need to get into character. I need to make sure that I stay in that zone because like it's all about being the character. Like the character is me. Like that's really me turned up without any real like hindrances. Like I'm nice. Sure. Yeah, I'm an absolutely nice guy. I'm polite. I'm kind. I'm gonna be a gentleman about everything. But if you piss me off, I will be honest with you. I am vindictive. Something I used to say in my worst years, and I can't cuss, right? I don't want to cuss if I can't.
You can't. You can.
Oh, you can't.
Okay.
You're good.
I would mentally get there, and I would like look at them. I can fuck you up, or I can find a way to fuck your life up. Choose one.
I like that.
Right. So I have to like really keep calm. So when I'm Caden, that's that person. That's that embodiment of me. That's the I'm gritty. I'm tired. I want to beat you down and take my money and go home. I remember I used to sit there and I'd be like, I'm about to go home and mess with one of these white girls tonight and fuck around and find out. Like that was my mindset because I was this big bad heel. But when I'm a face, I try to kind of calm that down. Like I'm still gonna beat this dude, but I want people to have a good time. Like that's why I used to come out to Flashlight and all this other stuff and slap hands and give hugs. I want it to be like Luke Cage, have that black superhero feel. But I have found my speed in this new variant of the Cassidy character, and I've been having a ball.
Well, and I'll tell you, the one thing I noticed was during your match at 5cc Wrestling with Shane Taylor, you came out in like that suit jacket.
Oh yeah.
And like you own that room. Like when you were walking out to the ring. Right? Like
that's how I think. I told Oregon Pro Wrestling with a bunch of those kids. And I said, you don't have to come out there and go, yeah, love me. Da, 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 da. Make them feel you. When big man, when you walk into a room, people know you're there. They feel your presence.
Yep.
Same for you. When you pop into a room, oh shit, he's here. Nate's here. I want people to know that Cassidy's here. I don't come out with the big pomp and circumstance. I don't pop my hands out. I pop out to the music and I look at folks and want them to know, yeah, the man is here.
Exactly.
Then, I pop in there like I'm King Kong. Take my jacket off. Thank you. And get going. Caden, like a little brother to me. He's like, it's called final boss energy. Like you look like you had to go through all these little people. Now you're at the one. Let's do it. But for me, I'm a comic book nerd, so if I make a lot of references, that's why. You know Darkseid, right, from DC?
Oh yeah.
That's I always post Darkseid when people are like, oh, Cassidy and I need to have a match. I always put a Darkseid gift. That's how I think. Like Darkseid to me, like Thanos was the final boss in Marvel. Darkseid's the final boss in DC. I always thought Darkseid was the better villain because Darkseid has no redeemable qualities.
Absolutely.
Ever. I'll never forget when he killed Superman's friend, he came asking for a favor. And Superman's like, wow. Big boom tube opens. Like, I thought I felt something. And Darkseid comes out with his hands behind his back, his chest up. And he's like, Darkseid, wow. Right. And Darkseid's like, oh, so you remember me. And I was like, damn. Like, brother, I was like, even as a kid, I was like, that is shit talking 101.
Yep.
Like, yeah, what's up? When he in the Justice League cartoon, I'll never forget, Superman said some shit and he said, let's go. Darkseid beat that man with an inch of his life. He put his literal heel on his eye socket and started rubbing it in. And I'm like, that's who I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy. So, like every now and again, I'll grab them by the jaw and I'll headbutt them back down, or I'll grab them by like their nose and try to pull it up. Just this big, dirty heel. I want people to be like, I hate this guy, but he's so entertaining.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and I can promise you it shows. Like, I was watching that entrance and like it was like, okay, now I was paying attention before, but damn, now I really have to like pay attention to what this guy.
Right. And Shane is incredible. Like we've had 2 matches, both very different matches, very different feels. I love that guy. The guy is hilarious and full of incredible wisdom. Had no idea that I was older than him by about a month, and I'm like, damn, I'm the big brother, and I'm over here looking here for information. Like, I don't like how this feels, sir. You've been everywhere around the country. So, it's that for me. Like, I'm always trying to find a way to command people's attention, whether it be changing my voice octaves when I do strikes, which I got from the X-Men arcade game, which is such a weird thing, to just how you walk, how you talk. Like, my friends, like I was training with him at the gym. He's like, do you always walk like that? I said, walk like what? I didn't say anything. And then CJ Edwards was like, why do you do the big T-Rex walk when you walk everywhere? What are you talking about? He's like, you're always like fly and strutting and whatnot. I'm like, that's how I walk, dude.
Like that's just what I do.
What I do is like you walk like you're the most important person in the room. I'm like, bro, I'm the main character of this story. You guys are just subplots. Yeah.
All right, Tony, you got a question?
Yeah. I want to know what his in his opinion, who the best wrestler turned actor is.
Batista, hands down. John is funny, but John's always been funny. Like he's always had the gift of gab, right? But John's never done a dramatic role. If you watch Blade Runner, it's only about 10 minutes, but you felt bad for Batista's character when he got killed.
Yep.
He's like, all I want to do is grow garlic and live in peace. I want nothing else. And they wouldn't let that man live. And I remember I was like, if you got me either tearing up or tensing up upon your death, you got me.
Yep.
And although Dave hasn't done a lot of great movies, neither has The Rock. Dave is trying to be versatile. He's trying to be funny. He's trying to be dramatic. His Marvel work is incredible. I think Dwayne's thing is that, Schwarzenegger dubbed him as the next big action star, which kind of is. But that's all that he kind of is. Like Jumanji, sure, yeah, whatever. I felt like there was no better moment for me than 2 pieces. Drax talking about he was invisible as he ate chips. Yep. And then John Cena singing into a vibrating wand while singing like 80s hair metal.
Yes.
Dwayne doesn't have that moment for me. I'm still on the phone. No, I'm almost done. I'll take it. I think that for me is kind of like, for instance, you couldn't name it right now. But if I said, what's your favorite song and why? Most people's answer is going to be some arbitrary song that makes them feel a certain way. And I feel like that's the sign of a great actor. They make you feel. Like I just played the new Final Fantasy. I'm not a big crier, like at all. When my kids were born, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Didn't cry, not at one of their deaths or one of their births. But in this game, I see this guy holding his brother dying. And I'm like, that's just not fair, man. Life isn't cool. Why would that even happen? And my wife's like, it's a game. Shut up, bitch.
Leave me alone. It's a very emotional game.
Right. You don't understand. Run over here. And that for me is a big piece. Finn Balor said it best. He's like, they said, music and wrestling matches are very much alike when they say what's the greatest song of all time? What's the greatest band of all time? He's like, whatever lasts the test of time. Like we're still here watching Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. How many years later at WrestleMania? We're still talking about Macho Man versus Steamboat. 30-something years later. We're still talking about Kiss. How many years later? Like, that's when I say you've lasted the test of time.
Yeah.
Like, some of us talk about Kiss, not all of us. I'll say, I mean, if it came to the 70s and 80s, man, I'm still a Bee Gees fan. Sorry. Dude, I was just talking about Saturday Night Fever this morning. I'm like, one of the best movies of all time. I still can't fathom how John Travolta got those dances down. My knees hurt watching them. But, baby, what are you doing? I'm putting lidocaine patches on my knees. We're about to go boogie. You know? That's how I feel.
So you walk out, you're like, my knees hurt. Well, what'd you do? I watched a movie.
Oh, bro, it'd be that way sometimes. Like have you seen it recently since you've been an adult?
Yes.
It's so when he came out and he did the arms and he came down with his legs and popped up and then came down, I was like, not in your life. Like my kid's life would have to be on the line. I'll try, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it, but I might need some help getting back up.
Oh my god, it'd be like a string down, you know. That's not for me, man. No, I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that for me, Dave is my hands down. Oh, and he was in a Bond movie. Done.
Exactly.
Done. Like, and actually, a lot of people hate on that movie. I like that movie.
I did too. The one that blew my mind was the Cabin at the Lake. Cabin in the Woods.
I heard it was good. I've been waiting. My wife, she has a whole list of movies we're supposed to watch, and I got to sneak around and watch it. So what you do is you watch the movie and you press restart and then you back out and it looks like you've never watched it. It works every time.
How do you take notes?
Right. Baby, did you watch Stranger Things?
Nope.
I don't know if Eddie dies or not.
I have no idea.
That's how it has to be done. Otherwise, I'll wait like years to watch something. We should finally watch The Greatest Showman. I've watched it twice. Yeah.
All right, Nate. Why don't we go ahead and do our final question so he can get back to Liam?
Thank you. Yeah, my oldest were like, I can't go outside. Not without me.
You already lost your TV, man.
Dude, it's you know what's weird, and I'll make this super quick. Did you guys have any video game consoles in your rooms as kids?
Nope.
Right. I had a Super Nintendo. That was my dad's like, you can have it because you got really good grades. I offered my son a PS3 and a PS4. Nah, we'll just keep it downstairs. You're playing the long game here. You're gonna want something from me soon. I don't know what that is. You can be as nice as you want. You should have took the PS4, sir.
Yep.
But Dad, the PS6 is coming out next year.
Dude, I'm the gaming geek in this house. Like if I left this room and went downstairs, I have a 8-foot tall, 4-foot wide cabinet, and it's just filled with games. And I got the PS5, the PS4, the PS3, the PS2. I have a Wii, I have a GameCube, I have a Sega, Dreamcast. I have the Nintendo gun. I have the running pad on the Nintendo. I have the VR. Like I have the Steam Deck from Valve. Like when I want to play a game, I don't want to. Oh, I don't own that console.
You're like, nope, I got this. I just gotta hook it up.
F it. It's my money. You know, I'm that guy. Oh, and I don't know if you guys are, and Nate, I don't know what you can and can't do. If you ever had the ability to, there's a place in Hillsboro called the Next Level Arcade.
Oh, I've heard of it. Yes.
I ain't never felt like I was 7 in my life. I walked in there. Is that Michael Jackson's Moonwalker in arcade form? I didn't even know Mickey Mouse had a Tetris game.
Yeah.
Is that Golden Axe? Like, my son's like, what are all these games? Listen, son, be amazed. You know? You know,
Well,
there's 500 games in that place, and like it's like it is the equivalent to a pervert going to the Playboy Mansion for me. I'm a kid in a canyon. Oh my god, I don't know what to do first. You know,
right.
my
Well,
little brother was like, Battletoads, where? You know. So yeah, go there. It's $20. You can literally play for a couple hours, leave and come back if you want. It's incredible.
well, and here's the funny thing is, like I told you, I went to Tito's up in Hillsboro, right?
Mm-mm.
Before we got to Tito's, or after after he got done telling his stories, we would hit that place,
Oh, it's great.
like, and at least like play a couple of games, like just.
Place is great. Man, again, I watch certain movies and it just brings these memories back. Like I was watching The Lost Boys with my kids because I'm like, this isn't so bad they can't watch it at 8, whatever. I mean, we watched Nightmare on Elm Street at what, like 7, 8, and 9, so whatever. And there's a part where they're playing pinball on the boardwalk, and I'm like, I remember when Seaside had like the open arcade, and even at like in New Jersey, I lived by the boardwalk by Atlantic City. That's where I grew up, and that's where I learned. That's why I played VR for the first time. They had that giant freaking helmet you had to fit into, wait like down to here, and you play the robot games and whatnot. It was super cool.
Uh-huh.
You walked like RoboCop, but you had a good time.
Right.
So
exactly.
Yeah, but you had questions. I'm sorry.
Okay, last question, Nathan.
Where can we find you on social media, and what's your next upcoming match?
Social media is the same. It's Caden Cassidy everywhere. I made sure that it was Caden Cassidy, Caden Cassidy, like the cowboy. So Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok, which I'm trying to get into TikTok, but I'm just too old for this is the new trend. We're gonna see what we look like with long hair. Look, I got pictures with long hair. You don't want to see them, trust me. Like this is what you look like if you were a femme. I look hot no matter if I'm femme or masculine. Cut it out. I think it's weird for me. But my next match, I am at POW Pro Wrestling next week. It's me and Dr. Cleaver versus the Hammer Brothers. So I'm super excited. I have watched these guys come up. I've watched one of them leave and come back. And I'm so immensely proud of them and happy to work with them. After that, I have DOA. It's me and the rest of the Heels for Hire with Zeb Saint and Nathan Fox versus the Konami Code and their partner, Marcus Eriks. And then I got 5cc, which is our 5cc last match. They are building a 5-man. It's a 5-man match, which is great. I started off doing this in the 5-way. Now I'm leaving in a 5-way. So far, it's me, Shane Taylor, and a couple other big heavy hitters in the match. That should be announced really soon. After that, I'm taking a break. I recently found out that I have a pretty bad hernia, so I'm gonna go get that repaired. I'm gonna drop a couple of lbs because while I like being a big man and being strong, I like being able to have my cardio even more.
Right.
After August, I'll be gone until about December, January, and then I plan on trying to make I want to make for me and my fans. I want to make my way back to Defy Pro Wrestling. Defy is such an amazing experience, and I haven't been back in about 3.5 years, and I've wanted to go back, but the time was never really right. I want to get back to Prestige. Work with Will and his entire crew. What they're doing is incredible. Kind of putting on these incredible shows, showing these fans the future of the Pacific Northwest and the current. And of course, as always, I want to get back home. I want to work with DOA. DOA has afforded me so many incredible matches. And I feel like, every time I'm there, I just grow a little bit more.
Very nice. So before Tony asked that, I'd be remiss if I didn't say, when we get our promotion going, I would love to have you come to Pullman.
Just give me a call. I tell everybody, just call me. If you call me or email me or DM me, I'm so easy to work with. Hey, man.
Cool.
What's the match? who do we got? What do you want us to do in the story? It's not that hard to do. You know, I've wrestled with people that were, you know, greener than the NFL turf. I wrestled people who were some of the best things ever. You know, one of my favorite matches that I had this year, actually, you know, a lot of people slept on it. Was me versus Cutthroat Cody from Las Vegas, and
Love that match.
I had such a great time. I was like, I tell folks, look at me like I'm Samoa Joe in this area. Bring that shit.
Yep.
Bring that shit. Have a good time with it. You know, let's do our back and forths and whatnot. And then last year I wrestled Bateman. People slept on that match, and I was like, freaking Bateman is amazing. Everything we did was meaningful. It was super fun. Our facials were on point. The fans bought into it. So like, you know, those are my style of matches. If you got a guy who can run those kind of matches, let's run it. Let's have fun. I never want it just to be a normal match. I want it to be a fight. You know, I used to say, look, it's not about just beating me, it's about surviving me. And if you can do that, you're good in my book.
And okay, so I don't know if it was the Vegas match because it was at 5cc, but it was you and Cutthroat. You guys did the chair spot where you guys both sat down and did the forearms. I died laughing watching that. I was like, that is the best thing I have ever seen.
Well, think about it. You know, I said, excuse me, dog hair. I said, man, I love that idea. It was his idea. He's like, I was watching Necro Butcher, and I forgot him and Brody Lee did this spot. He said they did it with light tubes. And I was like, I'm like, no, that's too much for me. But we can punch an elbow. So when Cody is one of those talents that he could work with literally a garbage bag and make the garbage bag look good. So it was really easy to work with somebody that I not only respect, who's also had a hand in giving me some ideas to work with in wrestling, but like I knew we were going to be safe no matter what. And I said, I like the idea of trading fades in the chair because here's this, I wouldn't say average, but he's a very lean man and this big gargantuan dude. And I'm like, okay, you got to really bring it. So he got me. Wow. And if you watch, you see his chair slide. And I'm just like, all right. So, like, you know, you're trying to keep your composure. You're trying to stay in character. So the character's all like, yeah, that's right, bitch. That's right. But little kid in me, did you see that? Oh my God. You know? I showed my dad and he was like, I want none of that, son. That's right, old man. You on the so yeah, those are like from last year. It's Shane and Cody are my two favorite matches. Shane and Bateman or Tyler Bateman are my two favorite matches from last year. So far this year, the first match with Funny Bone that I had at POW and Cody have been my two favorite ones. Funny Bone is so underrated and people forget, like, he doesn't have to do the what he does. Like, it's kind of like he's like kind of like a grindhouse villain in my opinion. That's what the grindhouse films, the old school 80s, 60s. That's what he reminds me of with his character. And we'll talk about his character. I said, dude, you got to do Pinhead once for your gear. I said, just you talking and the chains going back and forth would be so cool. And he's like, he'll sit there. Can we do that? Yeah, we'll figure it out. And people don't know he was trained by Nick Bockwinkel.
Whoa.
Nick Bockwinkel trained that man. And I'm like, he's like, when we're out there, I had a concussion. I said, just talk the entire match. He talked the entire match, the whole thing. And I sat there like, you're a effing lifesaver. What can I buy you to repay you? Just buy me like 6 Red Bulls and we're fine. That's it. Shit. Cheap. Like, better than beer. You know. You know. So like those are my guys too. I respect them so much. I call Funny Bone Frank from Hellraiser, like the demon who was sucking all the blood. That's what Because I love you, Frank. Like, I love you too, cousin. I'm like, that's my motherfucking dude. Whatever he needs. But yeah, I'm glad you watched those. I'm glad you got a kick out of them. I've tried to promote those so they get more eyes on them. And as always, if people are looking for my merch, just go to prowrestlingtees.com. Except for one design that wasn't really that great to begin with. Every one of my designs is on there. I got stickers coming, keychains coming, cups coming. From one of my buddies, he's doing a lot of my work. I'll post stuff on my Instagram later. And that's really kind of it. I mean, I plan on getting out of outside of Portland again, but let me just say, like, dude, it has been ridiculous with these flights. Like, I tried to fly to Vegas so I can go see my pop. You want $300 to fly to Vegas?
Whoa!
Vegas is a $50 flight most times. That's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Hopefully in the coming future, you know, I can give you guys a little bit more. But yeah, just say hi at the shows too. Let yourselves be known. I'd love to see you guys in, you know, actual person. Let's eat a slice of pizza. Because yes, I'm a wrestler. I still eat my pizza. You will never take that away from me. But you were eating so good. What was that?
It sounds good to us.
Dude, like that new TMNT movie's coming out, and my son and I were talking, and I'm like, you know, we're gonna have to eat pizza then go watch that movie. He's like, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, that's my boy. He gets it.
Exactly.
All right, Tony, you want to do the compound?
I'll do it real quick. So we have our co-host, as we were saying, is Big Money Dodge. He's starting an online training facility until we can get our ring, and hopefully that'll come this week. So Big Money Dodge, if you're watching, man, keep your head up, keep your chin high. The ring is coming. I know it.
Yep, we got this.
Just be cautious, be safe. We love you, man. But anyways, $25 a session, $150 a month for the online portion. Once he goes in person, we'll change the rates, and we're probably going to do the compound on StreamYard. So $25 a session, $150 a month. Find it on Big Money Compound or Big Money Dodge on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch.
Yep. And our other two sponsors are the CARE program, which stands for Community Action Reaching Everybody. And to get a hold of the lady that's in charge of that is Becky Bernhardt and Bruce Nichols Painting for all your painting, pressure washing, and lead removal needs. And you can find them on Ed.
And to close it out, we want to thank Caden for joining us tonight. So for our host, Nathan, I'm Anthony, the executive producer. Hey, Nathan, our supervising producer says, dude, he has an appointment for you at the hospital. Please have yourself spayed and neutered. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys. Y'all have a good one, okay? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.